So Liz said, acknowledge the thing not working, and then you want to understand the root cause of what's not working, and then work towards changing that pattern from negative to something that's positive. Perfect. So we're going to give you some examples. I know y'all think we perfect and that we live these glamorous lives and stuff. You can just tell by our wardrobe that we fancy pants, hyper snickety people, okay? But we're not. We're just like all of you.
So why don't you give me an example, Edward?
You see what she did there, y'all? Did you see that?
Did you see that?
Did you see it?
Because you're so cute. And
that's
so do
sweet.
you
That's
have...
passive aggressive, Liz. You're so pretty, Eddie. You go first with your faults.
No, why don't you give me a positive one?
A positive one.
A positive pattern that's winning for you.
I'm going to do the negatives first.
Okay, you do that. Okay, we'll do the negative first.
Okay. Because I've got lots of those. My predominant negative pattern that I did not know was a negative pattern, I thought it was my strength.
Yeah.
Was overworking.
Oh, yeah.
So
I know that one.
Working too hard. If I was paid $20,000 a year to do a job, I gave you $1.5 million worth of blood, sweat, tears, time, talent. And because I was taught through osmosis that you always give 100%. But I also assumed that meant everything you had, not what you were paid to do. So there's called even exchanges of energy. If a company hires you for $20,000, if you give that company more than one penny over that $20,000 worth of your blood, sweat, and tears, you have put yourself in a vibrational subconscious deficit. And let me tell you something, they're not going to stop you. They're not going to say, oh my goodness, we're getting $1 million worth of work for just $20,000 a year. They're doing the work of 3 and 5 people. Or do you think they're going to stop you?
No.
And say, oh, you know what? We need to give you a raise.
Oh, no, not at all.
They don't do that. And so my predominant negative pattern that was unconscious and conscious was I'm a great worker.
Mm-hmm.
What was yours?
Well, I had a similar one, but similar to that, I'm a workaholic. I was a workaholic. I'm working on not being a workaholic, and but mine was more, being in the public's eye, or I always thought that I was a great speaker and I had no problem discussing any subject at work. I would, be the first one to raise my hand to go. In reality, I'm very much someone who shies away from all of that. So it was like a push-pull kind of situation in which I found myself once I was in the public side, once I was like the lead in this certain thing, or when I was modeling or whatever, and I got the lead, or I was in front of the camera, I did this and that. I found myself automatically kind of like shutting my light down, like shying away from all of that.
Just curious, what triggered it though? So once you get there, you get the job, you're modeling, and you're on the way there, and then you show up. What triggered it? The push-pull paralysis? I
think it was being in the focus of the light.
Being the center of attention.
Being the center of attention. Because, when I was growing up, and then this is in relationship to that, there were many children. And
you mean on the planet or just in your household?
Just in our household.
Okay.
And there were like 4 kids. And then, you see that? And so we were told not to single ourselves out as being special. We're all the same.
Did they say that to the girls predominantly, or the boys, or both?
In both.
Okay.
In both. And so to me, I feel that's what that was. And so I've been working on that. As soon as I recognized that pattern, I started to recognize that. Interesting enough, I became a model. We're doing the podcast. I do a lot of, I lead on many things when I was in my lifetime. But interesting how it works.
I think it's fascinating because I have that one too. Growing up in the South, you're to be seen and not heard. You were
that
to
one
speak
too.
when you're spoken to.
Yeah.
And then, like you, I would end up in the spotlight or getting recognition or pushed on stage in a G-string and a ripped up T-shirt. But here's how I got past that. It was work. As long as it was work.
Oh, see, me too.
Excellent.
That's perfect. Yeah.
I would step past the push-pull paralysis. I would step outside of my big butt prediction about being the center of attention. I'm like, oh, this is a job. Yeah. And I am here to give 190%.
Yes.
And so that's how I flipped it. But we were putting Band-Aids on train wrecks.
That's right.
And cement truck wrecks. And we didn't know at the time what we know now, because now we all smart, sophisticated people. We are. We educated. We intelligence.
And we know now.
You could tell we went to school and shit.
You're so silly.